What is up, guys? We're coming to you with the bracket predictions. First of all, I wanted to remind you that you still can predict under the in comments down below. You need to predict top 12 for each place. You get certain amount of points, which will show up on screen somewhere, and you need to study how does it look like. We're gonna jump straight away to the bracket, and we're starting with vengeuR Keltz. Shout out to Keltz, like we've been watching his game today. I thought he might not be able to go through to the bracket because his first match was very sloppy. He didn't seem to be himself, but he managed to come on top and qualify.
He played really well.
Yeah. What do you think about that one, vengeuR Keltz?
To be quite frank with you, I'm a big Keltz fan. I think he's been playing great. He's an up-and newcomer. I think he will do well in terms of being in a league. But we have vengeuR, somebody who's been a champion already, somebody who's been practicing extremely hard, being very dedicated to the game, to his lifestyle in general, making sure that he can win this tournament. And I think for this,
although I must add that whenever they practiced before, I heard it from vengeuR as well, he kind of struggled with Keltz style.
Really?
So I think this is very good opponent for vengeuR to make the game look close and be very interesting. So I can't wait to see this one. But obviously I need to go with the vengeuR because like he's much more experienced and he has other factors which can lead him to the win. So I'm going here with the vengeuR. It's BO3 still, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Until probably.
But as I said, I can't wait to see Keltz and how he's gonna play.
Yeah.
I think his aim can like
bring
him very far.
It's gonna be more comfortable.
Yeah.
Second day, right?
Second one is very interesting and might be very close because it's Strongsage against Bukster. Strongsage showed himself really well in the online stage throughout the year. I'm curious how he's gonna cope with the picks on LAN, if he's gonna push for tanks and for clutch and scale, and how he gonna deal with that. And then we got Bukster, who managed to win his first game against Keltz actually.
Yeah. In terms of this matchup, as you've mentioned rightfully, Strongsage is a player that does like to use the tanks quite a lot. But what he hasn't really experienced a lot is tanks online, which can be hit and miss. Depending on a patch, things can be a little bit different. You can hit them harder or a little bit less. So if people will let him play tanks and the tanks will work in his favor, I can see this going in Strongsage's favor. That's for sure.
I think so too. It's gonna be 2-1 in my opinion for Strongsage. We got third match in the bracket and it's Raisy against effortless. Not gonna say much. I've been watching effortless. He's still aiming well. He has mechanical skills. I think there is a lot of room to improve, and I think the game with Sip showed a lot of weakness in his game style. I think he really needs to chill a little bit in the game, and he needs to like calculate his attacks, and he needs to be more aware of how much stack his opponent has. So I think in this case the Raisy is extremely difficult opponent for effortless. If I had to bet any money, I would go for Raisy, like 100% in this matchup, not gonna lie. No. So 2-0 for Raisy, in my opinion. We jump into the fifth one and we got ZenAku Psygib. I really wanna see how ZenAku gonna do, like on LAN, like how he prepared. Like on paper, he should be the favorite here.
For me, the favorite, with just in terms of mentality of somebody wanting the title for himself. Not to say that Psygib doesn't, but ZenAku is quite vocal about practicing extremely hard to achieve his goals. With what we've seen in Pro League so far, ZenAku has only been getting better, beating one of the best players in the world, making many upsets during the weekly tournaments. So I think, again, I'll have to agree with you. I think that will go to ZenAku most likely.
Same, and I think it's gonna be 2-0 as well. Sixth one, Rapha and Dandaking. It's kind of a clash with styles, I would say. I got the feeling that Dandaking can actually do very good with Rapha, especially after how he showed up against Chain.
Yes,
that was very close game. If not the telefrag for Chain, I think he could came out on top in this one. I think Rapha doesn't have any statistics on Dandaking, so he kind of doesn't really know what he plays. Although Rapha is kind of unique and he always goes for his own picks and he never really overthink what the opponent gonna do. So it's hard one to predict, but I would go with Rapha here.
I fully agree. We've seen Dandaking today. He's been playing extremely well. As you said, there was a situation where he could have come out on top in a match versus Chain. Once again, I do think, even though Rapha might not have the information on Dandaking, I mean, he probably does have a little bit, but in terms of what he has on other players, I think nonetheless Rapha 2-0 in that instance.
Yep. And nosfa against Chain might be the closest one in this in those quarters. I think, as I said many times already when I did predictions with Marco, I'm really scared for nosfa that those high ping matches, like whenever he plays on 140, 120 ping, and he constantly plays on that ping, he only plays on that ping. I think it might make things more difficult on LAN, because I really think that the compensation in Quake Champions actually makes some shots easier on higher pings. So I think like getting used to the low ping might take some time, but we all know that he came to US much earlier. He came for like a good week boot camp, so maybe he got used to it. So Chain is slightly a favorite, especially after this interview in QPL.
Yes.
He seems so confident about
He's the
himself.
best.
I don't know.
Win QuakeCon, right?
I don't know, yeah, but he made me believe that he can actually win the QuakeCon. So I don't see any other outcome than Chain here.
No, I would say I also agree with Chain, although I've seen nosfa practice with Rapha when he came to NA, and he seemed to be doing really well.
Yeah.
Even though, like you've mentioned before, obviously he's been so used to playing on a higher ping. When he came to bootcamp in NA, he's been actually doing pretty well. So I would say this, like you said, it's probably the closest match that we're going to get in this bracket. But then again, I would give the slight edge to Chain.
Yeah. This is a very funny one. We got Kilsen and Sparty. They used to practice together all the time. Every time I join Kilsen's stream, he's practicing with Sparty, and he's actually wrecking him. So this is extremely funny. And what I want to see for a change now, it's a very close match, and maybe Sparty taking some maps off. I don't know if it's possible because Kilsen is in top shape for sure. I think this match will kind of show us like how far Kilsen can go, and if Kilsen can win QuakeCon yet another time. I think this match already will tell us something, because we never know until the player shows up. Although last year Kilsen's first match was Dandaking and he lost the first map of the tournament. So you cannot really predict with this one. I would go with Kilsen here. I cannot see any other option.
Honestly, I don't think there's much to add. I would say Kilsen, granted with how much he's achieved so far in the season in the last couple of years. Kilsen's been easily in the top 4, top 3, top 2, top 1. So in terms of experience in the game and in terms of the amount of times he has won, I would go with Kilsen.
Alright, so the last match of those is Maxter Tox, and I really don't want to go further here. I think it's like 100% Maxter for me, like based on the shapes and everything. And I think we can keep predicting from below now, so we can start with, I guess you agree with me that Maxter gonna win, so we can start with Maxter Kilsen, and this is already interesting.
I think,
two very rail heavy players, and I don't know the history between the two players, but I think Maxter might be very difficult opponent for Kilsen.
I think in terms of playstyles, there are some similarities between the both players. Now the thing is about Maxter, he's got a very unorthodox way of dodging opponents. He's very CS-like, which throws a lot of people away, and Keltz is known for his rail. So I think if there's going to be some clash between those two players, it's definitely going to be during the rail battles. What is going to be close, I still give the edge to Kilsen. I think that match might be 2-1 for Kilsen.
What I would really like to see here is Maxter winning, Kilsen dropping to lower bracket, and then going all the way through the lower bracket to the final. I think that would be a cool story, and that would like really put some pressure on Kilsen, and maybe we could see like the best Kilsen we ever seen. And I think it's super like 50-50, I would say 45-55 for Kilsen, but I really would like to see Maxter coming on top here. Then we got, those are the semis already, right? Semis of winner bracket,
actually,
right? Now we got Chain against Rapha. Interesting one. I think they practice quite a bit together.
They practice a lot.
and as a chain told last, he was like winning against everyone except Kilson. So I'm still believing Chain. I just believe the guy. He was so confident on the camera. He told me he's gonna win the tournament. I'm going with him.
This guy's crazy. I don't know.
He's gonna beat Rapha. I really believe Chain. I don't think he can troll us all year long.
Look, as much as I love Chain, and I think he's been doing extremely well, I still have to go Rapha.
Okay, so Rapha for you,
we
Chain
a little
for
bit
me.
disagree, but
all right, we got Zen Raisy. Ooh,
now
that's an interesting one.
This is a 50-50 match.
They probably practicing a lot together, especially after this boot camp. They are fellow teammates.
Have you seen their stealthy matches? How they play against each other all the time?
I've seen some, yeah.
Yeah.
It's usually close, but every time I watch a stealthy, it's Raisy winning.
Yes, but
every
by
single
margin,
time.
by a small margin,
but every single time. Well, Champions Pool, everything is still BO3. Raisy still didn't play any official game. ZenAku didn't play any official game. I'm curious if Raisy can pull out some clutch pick or whatever. I would go with Raisy here.
Okay.
It's slightly advantage for me.
I would go with Raisy as well in that instance.
So we got the last one here. We got vengeuR against Strongsage, we said. Not much to say. I think Strongsage lacks experience. Yeah. He lacks champion pool. He can play a lot of champs, but he somehow doesn't try to pick anything other than tanks.
For Strongsage, it seems like it's a lot of comfort picks.
Yeah.
Picks that he's already familiar with, picks that he can use to his advantage, and he doesn't like to step outside of his bubble, which in a setting like QuakeCon or any LAN tournament, you have to be, if you want to go into the finals, you have to be able to play all the champions at the highest level possible, which is, let's say that Strongsage does go into the grand finals. He will have to play best of 5, which means, sure, he might be able to play some of the heavy champions. What happens if he gets to map 3, 4, 5? That becomes a massive problem for him. So even if he did go through into the finals, now his champion pool is quite small. Okay,
jumping to the semis, we would have vengeuR against Raisy, it was, right?
Yeah, vengeuR against Raisy.
vengeuR against Raisy. I don't know, from the very beginning of QPL, when we started to do those predictions with vengeuR, I seen how he progressed. We spoke a lot about Quake, we spoke a lot about the peaks, and I really got this feeling like towards the mid-end of the QPL season. And I was speaking with him, and I told him that I really feel like he's in the even better shape than 2021 when he won Quake online. So I really think he has a chance to win. And if I had to predict something, I would still go with vengeuR all the way, and especially in the matchup with Raisy. I think he somehow can counter Raisy.
Yeah, I agree.
And don't get me wrong, I think this bracket actually is the biggest chance for Raisy, because we all laugh that Raisy always get in top two and second place. But the thing is, like, every single tournament he was basically dropping lower bracket very early, and that made him play like all the way through the loser brackets, and he was losing stamina. It was hard to come back. So if this is the Raisy moment, I think if he managed to beat vengeuR now,
then I
think he can win the whole tournament. Whole thing.
I agree.
I will still go with vengeuR, but I think this is the chance for Raisy. If he uses it properly and if he overcomes vengeuR, he can win this tournament. Actually.
For sure.
Another semi will be Rapha against Kill. You predict Kilson, I predict Maxter. That I would like to see Maxter.
Yeah.
I gave a bit more chance to Kilson. So let's say Rapha Kilson.
Sure.
I think Kilson is extremely difficult opponent for Rapha because of the playstyles. I think Kilson is the one who can stop him, because Rapha rotates like items a lot. He kind of plays from one item to another. He runs a lot. He always gives you sound cues. Kilson is listening. He rather stay somewhere in the middle of the map, deal damage, than position himself first on the item, and then we know Rapha is coming at him.
Exactly.
So it's much easier for him to hit. And I think all the matches look like this, except the one which they played last time of online. And Rapha somehow chilled out in the most important moments, and when he usually would rush an item, he decided to restock and take another fight, which led him to the win. So that was the one time when I seen Rapha play perfectly, and he overcome the style devil they had between each other.
I think in terms of what you've mentioned, we all know that Rapha does keep a notepad, a book on players and notes how they play, what they do on each map, what champions they like to play. And I think in terms of this matchup, Rapha is probably well aware of Keltz's playstyle. So I would say that as much as Rapha does play an ABC game, I think when he plays players like Keltz, he can switch it up from time to time.
Yeah, hopefully. I know what you mean. I'm sure that he's aware of how Keltz plays. Just sometimes I don't really see those switches in him.
Switches, yeah.
I think he sticks too stubborn to his style, and he tries to overcome it with his style. So this is what I'm afraid of, that he will be too stubborn with his style, and maybe Keltz will win that one.
Could be. And then the next matchup that we are going to have, I believe.
No, the next one is already the winner bracket final.
Yeah, we already go for it.
Which I don't know. I would try to go with Keltz here, especially that if you look at the bracket, Keltz is in the very bottom of the bracket, vengeuR is on very top. It means those guys already for the last 2 days were practicing like tons of matches. This is the thing what they did on last QuakeCon. They set up as soon as they can, and they played tons of matches, which helped them a lot because they found out about the tanks meta before. They kind of felt the game more, and they were more able to set up. I'm sure Rapha gonna do the same, but I don't know. I somehow got the feeling that Keltz can take it, and judging that we predicted maybe vengeuR going there, so there's very big possibility that those sparring partners gonna play in the winner bracket. It's gonna be Keltz and vengeuR.
Yeah,
I really think vengeuR can make it to the final, and then I would say for the loser brackets, Raisy as always.
I think so too.
That's my prediction. Everything gonna go different way, guys.
It always does.
It always does.
Quake
It's Quake. It's Quake. You can never predict. That's why it's beautiful.
Yes.
The game is beautiful because anything can happen. You can never be sure. And reminder, just let us know who's gonna be top 12. Like place them from the 4th place to 12th. For each place you guess, you're gonna get certain amount of points. For the 4th place, we got the hoodie. All the prizes are the endpoint merch. Is the one which FAZE is wearing. So we got the black hoodie. We're gonna adjust your size because we got plenty of them. Then we got the short, and then we got a nice hat for summer. That's it.